from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hi, good morning, and it's Tuesday, September 14th.
Pardon me, I'm trying not to choke on an Altoid here.
Take your time, take your time.
Our lead talker this morning, interesting, overeating apparently is not the direct cause of obesity. Scientists are claiming it's all about what you're eating.
Yeah, this is an article coming out here, and for some people it's like, what? For years and years, we were told the more you eat, you'll gain weight. So according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, over 40% of American adults classify as obese, and this places nearly half the population at higher risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes.
USDA's current dietary guidelines maintain the belief that losing weight requires adults reduce the number of calories they get from foods and beverages and increase the amount of physical activity, right?
Right, but study authors say this age-old energy balance model for weight loss doesn't actually work in a world full of highly palatable, heavily marketed, cheap, processed foods.
Yeah, they claim their new carb insulin model better explains the global trend towards obesity and weight gain, noting that the model even points to more effective and longer-lasting weight loss strategies.
So the study finds foods also cause hormonal response, which alter an eater's metabolism and drives fat storage and leads to weight gain.
Here's the gist of it. As a result, the brain thinks the body isn't getting enough energy to keep going and starts sending out hunger signals. Moreover, researchers say a person's metabolism can slow down as the body tries to conserve fuel, thinking it's still hungry. They say it's a vicious cycle that leaves people thinking they're still hungry and continuing to pile on more non-filling food.
So reducing consumption of the rapidly digestible carbohydrates that flooded the food supply during the low-fat diet era lessens the underlying drive to store body fat. According to Dr. Ludwig, as a result, people may lose weight with less hunger and struggle.
All right, so that's what it comes down to. Again, it's not overeating, it's what you are eating, and we're eating all the bad stuff, and that's leading to that vicious cycle. We still think we're hungry just hours later.
Right, but I think that's the most difficult part, is paying attention to exactly what you're eating.
It is, but this is going to lead to some new guidance. It's going to help us all out in the long run.
I think so. Let's look at today's 9 at 9.
Hurricane Nicholas made landfall in Texas early this morning. Nicholas quickly downgraded to a tropical storm. Heavy rains are expected across East Texas and into Louisiana. An area still picking up the pieces from Hurricane Ida.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing San Antonio ISD for a second time over its COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Paxton says the mandate violates a recent executive order issued by Governor Greg Abbott. SAISD says their protocols are based on federal safety guidelines.
The time has come. Will California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom keep his seat, or will he be recalled and replaced by one of the 40-plus candidates on the ballot? Despite ballot boxes closing at 8 p.m., a final decision could be days away.
In an effort to fund their budget bill, House Democrats are expected to propose a series of tax hikes on the wealthiest Americans and corporations today. The proposals would bring back a tiered system for businesses making over $5 million a year.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is in self-isolation after several people in his inner circle tested positive for COVID-19. Russian officials say Putin has not tested positive for the virus.
Celebrities put on a show during last night's Met Gala. The fundraiser supports the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. This year's theme was In America, a lexicon of fashion.
After 18 months in the dark and silence, the Broadway Lights and Drama will return to theaters with full audiences tonight. Over 30 productions had to shut down in March of last year, leaving nearly 100,000 people jobless. Pre-pandemic, almost 250,000 people were seeing Broadway shows every week.
Apple could unveil their latest iPhone today, which is believed to be called the iPhone 13. Tech insiders say the device is expected to boast the most storage ever in an iPhone at 1 terabyte. Other rumored features include cinematic video and a faster processing system. The event begins at noon today.
Pretzel maker Snyder's of Hanover is ready to celebrate Oktoberfest by teaming up with a brewer to make pretzel-infused beer. Both were brewed by New York's Captain Lawrence Brewing Company and will be available starting next week. And that is today's 9 at 9. Genius idea, we say. Genius beer and pretzels.
Yeah.
Put together.
And the can looks pretty, so
There you go. I didn't think about that part.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you, Steph.
marketing purposes, of course.
Let's go outside with live cam. Sarah is back this morning, and it's been a beautiful start to the day.
Oh my goodness, gorgeous. We had beautiful blue skies as the sun rise this morning. And then we are looking at temperatures that were in the 60s in many places. Now they're starting to warm up a little bit because of those blue skies and the sunshine. The aquifer just down 1/10 of a foot over the past 24 hours. So not a big drop there in the aquifer. We're still, of course, under stage 1 water restrictions, though, if you're a SAWS customer. Now, looking at the pollen count today, that looks good. Molds are low at 320, down from yesterday. Fall elm was moderate yesterday. It's down as well. Ragweed and pigweed are present in low amounts. Let's take a look at those beautiful blue skies out there. A lot of sunshine. We will see some clouds, though, today. It's 75 degrees. We've got winds from the north-northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Still some areas in the 60s, like Kerrville, 67, 68 in Rock Springs. And, of course, a big part of Texas still dealing with Tropical Storm Nicholas. It did make landfall overnight as a Category 1 hurricane. It's bringing us drier air, though, so coming up in the forecast, we're going to talk about the nice weather for the remainder of the week. And, of course, we'll detail those wind gusts that many felt from Tropical Storm Nicholas. Mark, Steph?
Thank you, Sarah. As discussed, Tropical Storm Nicholas hit the Texas coast as a hurricane. It dumped more than a foot of rain along the same area swamped by Hurricane Harvey back in 2017.
It's also a drenching storm battered Louisiana and bringing the potential for life-threatening flash floods. Galveston has seen nearly 14 inches of rain so far, while the flood-prone Houston area has received more than 6 inches of rain.
Our sister station KPRC in Houston keeping a close eye on the latest developments. Here's Roseanne Aragon with the latest from Galveston.
We have been monitoring conditions here in Galveston all night. We are joining you from the seawall where you can see conditions have improved since the intense conditions we experienced earlier this morning when we dealt with consistent, relentless winds. This is the seawall right here. It now seems the wind has slowed down and the rain has lightened, making for more manageable conditions. What a contrast. I want to take you back to early Tuesday morning around 2 a.m. in Houston. This is video from our storm tracker on the same road just headed east. You can see the intense wind and rain, very poor visibility and barely manageable conditions. The Galveston County OEM has been asking people to stay at home and off the roads. One thing they were watching very carefully, rain bands.
So as the eye of the storm is rotating, it's producing rain bands that are coming around in an arc. And, those, are producing sometimes significant rainfall. And depending on the speed that they're traveling will produce less or more rain. So if you have a rain band that sets up, it could produce some significant rainfall if it doesn't move out of the way quick enough and kind of let some of that water to drain off a bit before that next band comes in.
And the county dealt with higher storm surge than expected, 3 to 5 feet. These are the road conditions now here in Galveston, wet and rainy. I'm Roseanne Aragon. Back to you.
Top story we're following this morning. San Antonio police say they are looking for a driver who hit a man on a bicycle.
It happened around 4 this morning on the south side near I-35 and West Pyron Avenue. That's where officers say the man in his 30s was riding his bike on a sidewalk, but veered into the road and was hit by a vehicle. The driver of that vehicle took off. The man who was hit was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay.
As the City of San Antonio Council prepares to pass its yearly budget, it's also considering changing up how some calls by police are handled. It's a big part of this testing out a new approach for mental health calls and a pilot program throughout the central substation. KSAT's Garrett Berger explains how it works and why this approach might not work.
Starting this spring, the city plans to test a different approach for some mental health calls by sending a 3-member team to help. A team with a paramedic, a clinician, and an SAPD officer.
But one activist group thinks this approach could be better. Act for SA thinks that police officers don't need to be a core part of that response.
The simple presence of an officer can escalate a situation for someone.
Thomas doesn't want cops out of the equation entirely, but she doesn't think they should be on every call.
Lay out a clear protocol on when dispatch needs to involve law enforcement and when they don't. or even a third tree, which is maybe we need to have a law enforcement stand back.
City Manager Eric Walsh says they're following a consultant's recommendations, and he's not in favor of sending a team without law enforcement to a 911 call.
I don't want to put team members in a position where something bad may happen. I'm not saying it necessarily would always happen, but I think we have a responsibility to treat them like 911 calls.
Ultimately, City Council has to say on policy, and Thomas says her group and others have spoken with the majority of council offices. Mario Bravo, the councilman for District 1, where this pilot would in part play out, plans to bring the issue up during discussions later this week.
And so if there's an opportunity to send mental health professionals out without law enforcement when there's no dangerous situation, when no law enforcement is needed, then I'd like to be able to do that.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Time right now, 9:08, about 73 degrees.
And coming up on GMSA at 9, a new series coming to KSAT.com. It's all about healthy living and well-being. The details on how to watch and what to expect later in the show.
But first, a firefighter's point of view on what a massive apartment fire looks like. That full story coming up in your morning headlines. In your morning headlines, another social media game. This one is about destruction, and we're going into a burning apartment with a firefighter.
A huge fire at a recycling plant, and Apple has an update for the iPhone. David Sears is here to talk about all of this morning.
And the Peyton brothers. Not Peyton, the Manning brothers. Peyton
we knew who
Eli.
you meant.
Already blew that one. Okay. First off, let's start with this. Time is ticking for a few more students in Northeast ISD. Several students have already been identified for playing the latest destructive TikTok game. More are expected to be identified. In case you are new to this latest social media craze, it's a trend on TikTok called the devious lick. Students are encouraged to steal random items from schools. You're looking at some of the damage left behind: broken mirrors, soap dispensers ripped off the walls. How about a stolen fire extinguisher? District leaders not amused.
There is a huge difference between a harmless prank and something that causes damages, causes destruction, and is stealing property. Those kind of things are just not going to be tolerated whatsoever.
Now, we are told those students who have been identified will have to pay for the damages. Northside ISD also reported vandalism in at least 6 of its high schools, but officials there not sure yet if it's also related to the TikTok trend. All right, there has never really been a question of the heroics performed by firefighters. Here they are arriving at a fire at apartment complex, and watch, here comes a firefighter hero right there, bringing a young child out of that burning building. The rest of this video just reinforces how these men and women don't hesitate when it comes to putting their lives on the line to save others. Flames coming from that apartment out on the back porch. They are fighting those flames, and you can see they finally get those flames out, and then we're headed indoors. And we're searching for people and trying to fight more flames. This is incredible video. We're with a firefighter and his body cam.
We got the second line. We're going to move up to the 3rd floor with the second line.
We got a primary in the fire department. I'm heading up to meet you now. Grand fire tank.
That's what they went into, those flames. I mean, this is what they do every day. This is what they're trained to do. But still, this is just incredible to actually see this when they walk into that apartment right there, and those flames are coming up from the floor, up the walls, across the ceiling. It's what these guys and gals do every day.
And we hear them talk on scanners during structure fires, but we rarely get to see it from this point of view.
I was just like amazed. I mean, we know they do it, but still. The good news is there were 6 people injured. 2 of them were firefighters. They had to be treated, but there were no fatalities. But that just gives you kind of an insight. It's an incredible video. It's great that firefighters were in that body cam.
Special kind of person does that job.
That's exactly right. All right, let's take it to Las Vegas. More firefighters battling more flames. This time, it's at a recycling plant north of the city. The fire got so big, it went to a 3-alarm, 60 firefighters on scene to fight that fire. That thick black smoke coming off of bales of cardboard and plastic. A trash truck came in, dumped a product that ignited that fire.
And then about an hour later, that's when it hit that building right there. And it was game over at that point. The old recycling place usually is the one that catches on fire like crazy. I didn't think this one would, but there it is.
That fire determined to be accidental. And Apple has issued an urgent iPhone software update. The update is supposed to plug up a hole in the iMessage software. That hole opened the door for hackers to infiltrate a user's phone. The user doesn't even have to click on any links. So you should feel a little better about your iPhone now. Hey, during the Monday night broadcast of the NFL game between the Las Vegas Raiders and Baltimore Ravens, Peyton Manning and his brother Eli were interviewing Ray Lewis. You can hear it. Listen to this.
Oh my goodness. Ray?
That's the fire alarm going off, and they're just kind of sitting there. Look at them. They're like not stunned, not anxious, we'll just keep going. So apparently they're on ESPN2, and this is going to happen several times this year on Monday night games where Eli and Peyton just kind of sit there with some guests and talk about whatever they want to talk about while the game is going on. They can talk about the game or they can talk about some other stuff. So there's really no broadcasters in this particular broadcast.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
So I heard that they were a little jittery at the beginning, but once they settled into actually talking football, it was golden.
It was golden.
Yeah, it was perfect. And that's the idea, right? I mean, that's what they do.
Got to wonder how the broadcasters broadcasting the game feel about those two guys on ESPN2 doing this, because you know people are going to be tuning in because they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning is one of the funniest guys around.
He's awesome. I mean, we've already talked about the old SNL bits that he did when he hosted. He's very good.
Eli's not bad either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he'll shine through this time around.
So this will be good stuff. So
thank you, David.
See you.
Okay, yes, sir. 917, about 74 degrees. We got down into the upper 60s at San Antonio International this morning, which was quite nice.
It was very nice. 68, our morning low here in San Antonio. We have the dry air filtering in from Nicholas to thank for the cooler start. And we'll talk about Nicholas here in just a bit. But first, I want to show you the look outside. Beautiful sunshine. There are some cirrus clouds out there off in the distance, and we'll be looking at some cloud cover today. But it's generally going to be a really pleasant Tuesday for us, just a bit breezy. 75, so again, with just with less than an hour here of sunshine, we've been able to see temperatures rise fairly quickly. 75 degrees, northwest winds at about 10 miles per hour. Here's a look at the satellite picture. You can see how those clouds are kind of starting to increase a little bit more from the east, but generally it's clear around Bandera, Hondo, Sisterdale, Canyon Lake, San Antonio, Floresville, and Pleasanton. Also clear out toward Del Rio, Uvalde, Carrizo Springs. Temperatures still in the 60s up in Rock Springs. It's 68 degrees, 78 in Cotulla, and 76 in Laredo. And something just screams at you on the satellite picture. Look at that right near Houston. You can see that counterclockwise swirl of what is Tropical Storm Nicholas. Now, Tropical Storm Nicholas producing a lot of rain for Louisiana and coastal Louisiana. In fact, this is going to quickly become a rainstorm for areas in Louisiana here, although it still does maintain tropical storm force winds of 60 miles per hour, gusts of up to 85 miles per hour, possible right around that center. It's moving northeast at about 8 miles per hour, and again, going to be producing a lot of rain for weather-weary Louisiana today. It'll very much slow down and still be in Louisiana as a tropical depression by early Thursday morning. And these areas that you see, these orange colors, there could be 10 plus inches of rain in spots when all is said and done from Nicholas. So now Louisiana is going to be bracing for the rain from Nicholas, but earlier we were seeing wind gusts very strong around the Houston metro area. In fact, here's a look at the maximum wind gusts recorded. 62 miles per hour in Galveston, 63 in downtown Houston, 51 at Houston Intercontinental, and 52 out toward Brookshire. We're seeing some drier air being pulled in behind Nicholas. That's what this orange color is. That's why it felt so great. And then also some Pacific moisture in the middle to upper levels of the atmosphere. So we could see some cirrus clouds today as well. But generally, it's going to be a very pleasant day as Nicholas moves into Louisiana and brings rain and for them, we're going to be seeing a really comfortable weather. A high temperature right around 90 degrees. We may not get out of the 80s today in San Antonio. Meanwhile, it'll be close to 100 out toward Del Rio, Eagle Pass, and Carrizo Springs, but more of a dry heat out there. 82 at noon, 87 at 3 p.m., 89 for the high, and it is going to be a bit breezy today. North winds at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25 at times. Sun will set around 7:40, and it'll be a mild evening. And then we're really not going to see much rain chances over the next few days. In fact, 0% chance Tuesday through Thursday, with only a stray shower possible Friday through Saturday. And we really have to wait until Sunday to see any kind of significant chance for rain, but even then, only isolated at best. In fact, temperatures will rebound. We'll be back into the mid-90s by the end of the week. So enjoy today. It's going to be one of the pleasant days on the map here over the next 7 days. Mark and Steph.
That's a good advice. I will enjoy today. Thank you, Sarah.
921, about 74 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA at 9. If you've been struggling to get back into shape or maybe pick up a new healthy hobby, we have a series that could help. Details on KSAT's New You coming up. Plus.
And good morning, I'm Max Massey. We're going to tell you about an awesome new nonprofit here in the Alamo City, here in Military City, USA. We're going to explain Canines for Warriors and what it means for our local veterans right after the break.
And welcome back. It's 9:24. Canines for Warriors is the nation's largest provider of trained service dogs to veterans suffering from PTSD and other military-related trauma.
Today, Canines for Warriors is opening a brand new facility right here in San Antonio. Max Massey joins us live from the Petco Love Canine Center. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, guys. An exciting day for the program, an exciting day for Military City, USA. We are just a little bit out from the ribbon cutting, the opening of the new facility, joined here with the CEO, Rory Diamond. So what does this mean for your program? What does it mean for the city of San Antonio?
Well, this is going to be great. We're going to be rescuing dogs right over there from Animal Control Services, about the size of a lab. We're going to bring them here, get them back up to health, train them to be awesome service dogs. Can't wait to see it happen.
What does the logistics look like in terms of that training and in terms of partnering them with veterans?
Yeah, step one is to just get the dog back up to health. So many of them are emaciated and beat up, so we love on them, give them the best of everything. Then 6 to 8 months of training, and then finally a Texas veteran is going to stand right there and get their brand new service dog.
Now, this is really a twofold situation, helping local dogs and obviously helping local veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. What we say is we rescue the dog and the dog rescues the warrior, but everybody wins in the end.
Now, what is the main mission of the organization?
So we're trying to end veteran suicide, and 72% of our veterans have attempted before they come to us. We're incredibly good at keeping our warriors alive and healthy and thriving, and that's what we're out to do.
Now, this is a big step for you guys. This is the first facility outside of the state of Florida.
That's right.
So what does it mean for you, and what comes next?
Well, this is critically important. Our wait list goes all the way almost to the end of the decade, so we had to expand. Here in Texas makes sense. Lots of patriots, lots of veterans, and lots of dogs that need to be rescued.
Now, what have you seen in terms of partnering the veterans with the dogs? What does the outcome look like?
It's amazing. You literally see hope reborn right in front of you for both the dog and the warrior. And if you love on our warriors, you give them the support system, you make their life so much better.
All right, Rory, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, guys, we are going to dive much deeper into the program. We're going to take you inside. Coming up at 9:30. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Max.
Sounds good. Thank you, Max. More ahead on GMSA at 9.
A new episode of KSAT Explains airs tonight, and details on what to expect coming up after the break.
Does it involve tacos?
I think so.
Because it kind of looks like it involves tacos.
Looks tasty.
A new episode of KSAT Explains debuts tonight, and I smell an Emmy right now. It's all about tacos.
RJ Marcus and Alicia Beretta are in the newsroom to discuss this episode about San Antonio's taco culture and a look ahead to KSAT News Now. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. Very tough assignment for us here on this episode of KSAT Explains. And I have to say, you know, I've been part of basically all of these KSAT Explains episodes. And this one was one of the most fun ones, obviously. Alicia, her first time collaborating with us, joining the KSAT Explains team, the process. Alicia, what was it like for you?
Well, first, I mean, you get invited to talk and explore about tacos. Tough assignment there. I'm totally down. So it was really exciting. Obviously, a new challenge. I've never worked with KSAT Explains. It's a cool team to be with, but being able to explore those tacos and just go to different taquerias, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we visited several taquerias across town. I mean, we're talking about from the classic styles, like the original donut shop, that's where you were at for one of them, you know, to some new spots like Naco Eatery and a bunch of different birria was sort of this big trendy thing that's been going on. So it's a pretty cool experience.
Mark, Steph?
Guys, what's something new you learned about the taco culture here in SA?
RJ, I think that one's for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I just think that it's the mix of the traditional styles that are now blending in with more like trendy modern styles. I just mentioned birria. That is traditionally a very popular taco in Mexico and especially in the West Coast and parts of California. And it has made its way here to San Antonio, and a lot of people are loving that right now.
I think for me, maybe not something that I learned, but definitely something that my eyes were opened more about were how special these tacos are to San Antonio and to the culture. So we even explored the puffy tacos. So just to know how big that is, especially like on the west side of San Antonio, was really, really cool.
And we all have our favorites, but any suggestions for the best tacos?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, you want to take that one? Okay, you can go ahead, take that.
So my favorite are definitely more of the classics. I love Al Pastor, so I definitely recommend Taquitos West Avenue. So I-10 West Avenue, and pair it with a Jamaica, half agua de Jamaica and half lemonade. So good, you won't regret it.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Birria El Remedio and Birria Barrio. We're very grateful for us to be able to visit them. So definitely check those places out. Pretty cool stuff.
Very good. And then tomorrow, tell us a little bit about KSAT News Now that's coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. So every Wednesday, 11 a.m., we'll be pairing up for KSAT News Now, all streaming. So we're going to be talking about the biggest news headlines here locally, but of course, across the nation.
Yeah, and of course, Hispanic Heritage Month starts tomorrow. So we've sent out a question on social media just asking people, you know, what they enjoy about the culture, Hispanic culture, and just being the San Antonio culture and exactly what it is that you would like for us to basically tell you. Just kind of give your story, and we'll share that with you guys tomorrow morning. At 11 a.m.
Wednesdays at 11. Alicia, RJ, joining us live from the newsroom. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And taking a look outside with live cam, we're at 75 degrees now. Still not too bad, but wow, earlier you almost needed a sweater.
Yeah, for us, Stephanie, I think you and I are a little bit warm-blooded. We need a little sweater every now and then outside. So yeah, it was 68 degrees this morning for the low, but we were already warming up. The aquifer is down 1/10 of a foot over the past 24 hours. We do have 4 allergens in the air. Thankfully, they're all low, and that includes molds and fall elm, which were moderate yesterday. So that's some good news there. Alrighty, I want to show you Tropical Storm Nicholas, where it is right now, working through the Houston metro area, bringing a lot of rain to Louisiana. It's currently got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but at one point it was a hurricane when it made landfall. And our very own meteorologist Justin Horn was out at Matagorda Bay, and he saw some damage there. These pictures and videos are very, very interesting. This is a look right at Port O'Connor at sunset yesterday. You could see the sun setting, and then look at those palm trees blowing in the wind there. Justin even reported an 81-mile-per-hour wind gusts out there. And this is a look at some of the damage that was done to one of those houses there on the side of the road there on the right-hand side of your screen. You can actually see part of the roof that has fallen off. So again, meteorologist Justin Horn, he is safe and sound coming back home to San Antonio, but he was out there in the thick of it, Port O'Connor area yesterday. Again, more on Tropical Storm Nicholas, and the benefit to us is that we've got some drier air moving in, so it's going to be a beautiful day. I'll have a look at that forecast coming up in a bit.
Thank you, Sarah. The pandemic's put a spotlight on a once taboo topic, mental health. Now more folks than ever are looking for ways to be healthier all the way around, whether it's taking up meditation, getting back in shape, or maybe even picking up a new hobby.
And that's why KSAT is bringing back a health and wellness segment that might sound familiar. So here to help reintroduce it, we have David Sears and producer Alyssa Medina. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, tell us about the segment and how it all got started.
So I started it back in 2019, and basically fitness and wellness is kind of my MO. If I'm not at work, you can catch me in the gym, you can catch me boxing, biking, doing all kinds of stuff all around the city. And one thing that really warms my heart is being on the trail downtown and seeing people actually taking in all that the city has to offer, being along the river, kayaking, biking, walking, and I really wanted to spotlight that. So I kind of started this segment back in 2019, and David's been a big part of it as well.
And I think one of the unique things that we did back then, and one of the unique things that we're going to be doing and showcasing as we move forward with the new series, Just New You, is the fact that there's so many different ways that you can stay healthy. It's not just going to a gym. It's not just going outside and walking or running. There's hundreds of different ways for you and your family together or separate can get healthy. mentally, physically, and emotionally. And that's what we're going to be concentrating on all three of those aspects. So it's a great series, and it'll bring you some different and unique features and different ways to stay healthy, like riding a horse.
Riding a horse, which you do.
Which you do, but we have a story coming up about horseback riding and exercising on the back of a horse, and anybody can do it. So think about that for a second.
All right.
Stuff like that.
So you guys kicked this off with a live stream yesterday. What were some of the takeaways from those conversations?
So I actually went to my mom's house for dinner yesterday, and she was like, I saw your live stream. And I said, oh, really? What did you learn? She said, well, I learned that there's a lot of resources out there for you if you're looking to, fight diabetes, if you're looking for help with an eating disorder, if you're looking to get back in the gym. There's a lot of resources throughout the city, and also that you kind of just got to take it one step at a time and not be afraid to tap into your mental health as well as your physical. And so my mom kind of hit the nail on the head there. But one of the big things I took away was a tip from one of our panelists, Brian, and he talked about journaling.
One of the things I encourage is journaling and writing that down, kind of a gratitude journal, just writing 3-4 things, small things each day that you're thankful for, and make them different every day so that, it could be I had a really good meal today. Somebody smiled at me when I walked down the street. Those little things, they actually help in resetting our sort of baseline.
And thank God for your mom, by the way. Appreciate her.
We got one viewer, at least.
Her watching. My wife was watching as well. Another thing we took away from our live stream yesterday is a lot of people are dealing with a lot of different issues, mental issues, physical issues. Some people are having problem with eating disorders. And when you start getting back into this, especially since we've been dealing with this pandemic for the last 18, 19 months, people are starting to, realize that they got to get back to being healthy. They got to kind of put this pandemic behind them and move on and start getting back to whatever normal life is going to be in the future. But in order to do that, you got to have a support system to help you.
I can't overemphasize the importance of someone having a community around them as they recover from an eating disorder. Eating disorders are illnesses that really thrive in shame and silence and secrecy. And so when someone can have a group of people around them, whether it's their family or it's the family they've chosen for themselves, a community of supportive people is critical because it helps that person stay accountable to their own goals. It helps them talk about their feelings, to process what's going on for them, to get encouragement when they need it.
And our last takeaway is pretty simple, and it's kind of the whole idea of this whole segment is be kind to yourself. Whatever you're doing, whether you're trying to run a marathon, maybe trying to drop a few pounds or get your mental health right, just be kind to yourself.
We really want to talk about ways that all of us can reduce our stress level. And some of the things that we can do right now, we can exercise. Number one thing, I think we can all agree to that. But we also want to talk about being kinder to ourselves and the way that we speak to ourselves these days.
And so for every negative thing we say, we sort of need to make a conscious effort to say something nice about ourselves 3, 4, 5 times a day to override that. So.
And we also had a gym owner, Giselle Gavia, who owns Mixed Fit Gym down there on the south side. And one of her points that kind of went in concert with the rest of what these other people were saying, when you get back into the gym, now that you want to get back to healthy, one step at a time. You're not going to be where you were when this pandemic started, or if you hadn't exercised in months. You got to kind of start over, take it easy, and be kind to yourself when you're trying to lose weight or get back in shape.
Good advice, baby steps.
Yeah.
And the series officially returns today, right?
Yes, today at noon. We've got a story on a businesswoman who started a meditation business, basically coming out of the pandemic, looking for ways to cope with the pandemic and also with working from home. So it's some good tips that a lot of us could probably benefit from.
All about stress management, and who hasn't been through a little stress lately? Come on.
All of us.
Yeah.
All of us.
We're all team
so that's
stress.
just like the beginning of this new series. So we're going to talk about stress management, and then we'll get into some of the physical aspects of getting back in shape and some of the mental aspects of getting back in shape. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of cool stories planned.
Sounds good. All right, Alyssa Medina, David Sears, thank you guys.
Thank you guys. We look forward to it.
Right now, 9:41, about 76 degrees.
You're watching GMSA at 9, and we're checking back in with Max Massey. Max, where are you now?
Good morning, guys. We are now inside the Canines for Warriors facility. Take a look. This is the new training room. We're going to explain what it means for local dogs, and of course, our local veterans right after the break.
9:45, welcome back. It's a big day for Canine for Warriors, a nonprofit aimed at helping our veterans. Petco Love's $2 million grant will help support the new 5,000 square foot 30 kennel facility that opens today.
Max Massey joins us live from the facility in the 4600 block of 151. And Max, what does the new facility mean for local veterans?
I mean, it means so much for local veterans, for local dogs. It's going to be helping out so many local veterans. We're joined here with Jason, the COO. So, Jason, first off, we see a lot of stuff going on in this room. What room are we standing in?
We're standing in the Canines for Warriors, San Antonio Camp, Petco Love campus training room. And so this room is going to be used to train dog trainers, to train our service dogs for our veterans.
And you guys are pretty much expanding the operations from Florida here to Military City, USA.
Correct.
You know, what does that expansion look like, and what are the goals going forward?
Yeah, so we've got 30 kennels here. We're going to be bringing dogs over from next door at ACS. As many as we possibly can every year. We're gonna bring them up to health over here. We're gonna put a little bit of training on them. We're gonna send them out to Florida, where they're gonna be placed with our warriors in Florida. And then eventually we're gonna actually train the warriors here, right here from San Antonio in Texas, and put them in the hands of Texas Warriors as well.
That's fantastic. We were walking through the back. We could hear the barks. We saw the pups. What do the numbers look like right now in terms of the animals here and then going forward?
Right. So we've got capacity for 30 dogs here. We've got about 12 dogs on campus, and then going forward, you know, we'll do an expansion here and double the capacity of kennel space that we have, and then hope to train 4 or 6 warriors a month here.
And in terms of veterans, you know, how many veterans here in San Antonio do you plan to help out?
Oh my goodness! You know, if we can get it the way we want to end veteran suicide across the board. But you know, realistically, I think we probably can train about probably 70, 75 a year here.
75. Yeah. That's fantastic. All right, Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And if you guys have any questions about the programs, how to apply, what it means going forward, we're going to have that info. Just head to KSAT.com. Mark, Stephanie, back to you.
Oh, they're in a perfect place. Thank you very much, Max.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
Time to talk to Sarah Spivey about this morning's temperatures, and they were looking good.
Ooh, they look so good. They were lower than average. It felt amazing coming into work this morning. I saw a lot of people running and enjoying the cooler weather. And it's not necessarily been too humid this morning either. I want to show you those morning lows as Mark was mentioning. Let's take a look up toward Kerrville. It was 61 degrees, 63 for the morning low in Rock Springs, 64 in Uvalde. Meanwhile, here in San Antonio, we got down to 68. That's 2 degrees shy of the average this time of year, which is 70. Reason for the cooler morning was an influx of dry air from Nicholas, which is well to the east of us and is not going to be a factor in our weather in a major way at all. Outside right now, we've got beautiful blue skies, but there are some clouds there off in the distance, and we will see some cloud cover as we head throughout the rest of the day and into the afternoon. But right now it's fairly sunny, 75 degrees. We've got a north wind at about 10 miles per hour. It's 73 in Kerrville, 72 in Rock Springs, 77 in Del Rio. Again, we were at 68 this morning. We're already at 75, so the sun warming us up really effectively here. 79 in Pleasanton, 78 in Kennedy. All right, a look at the satellite picture. You can see that there are some more clouds off to the east, of course, and that's because of Tropical Storm Nicholas, while it's totally sunny out in Uvalde, Eagle Pass, and Cotulla, as well as Bandera, Kerrville, and areas in Medina County as well. But let's talk for a second here about Nicholas. You can see very clearly that Nicholas is bringing a lot of rain to Louisiana, and that's where the focus for flooding is going to be today, the Louisiana area. Now, Nicholas made landfall at Matagorda Bay as a Category 1 hurricane, and as it's been moving inland, it's produced 50 to 60 to even 70 mile per hour wind gusts in the Houston and Galveston area, but it is weakening as it's moving over land, and this is going to transition into a rainstorm more so than a windstorm. And in fact, again, as I mentioned, look at all of that rain over weather-weary Louisiana from Hurricane Ida, obviously. Now, Nicholas, as I mentioned, is going to slow down and become just a main rainstorm for Louisiana. It'll still be over the area by this time Thursday. So again, not going anywhere. Nicholas is going to be staying there, and it's already produced quite a bit of rainfall. Look out toward Galveston area. The city of Galveston lost power, 10 inches of rainfall out there. But as I mentioned, we're fairly dry here in San Antonio because of dry air from Nicholas. We're on the dry side of the storm, but it is peak Atlantic hurricane season, and there are two more systems that are very close to development here into at least a tropical depression and eventually a tropical storm. We would see Odette here and then Peter across parts of the Atlantic. So again, it's peak Atlantic hurricane season, but as I mentioned, we're on the dry side of Nicholas. So here in San Antonio, it's going to be nice, partly cloudy skies in the afternoon when we get a little bit more cloud cover, and we'll likely be right near 90 degrees, upper 80s for the high temperature around San Antonio, upper 90s though further west. At least it'll be a dry heat near Del Rio where they'll be dealing with temperatures close to 100. 82 at noon, 89 for that high, bit breezy today. North winds at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Sun will set around 7:40, and it's going to be a mild evening. No significant chance for rain for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. By Sunday, however, we do have a small chance for isolated showers and storms. Our high temperatures will rebound back into the mid-90s, which is warmer than seasonably average for the end of September.
Well, then we will enjoy today while we have it.
Good advice, Steph.
Thank you, Sarah.
Right now, it's 9:51, about 76 degrees.
Scientists say they have found evidence of a land-roaming whale. Details on this after the break.
Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning.
Coming up on Live, Ben Platt from Dear Evan Hansen.
Plus, Simone Biles talks about the Gold Over America tour. We'll see you soon here on Live.
This may be the city's largest gallery of outdoor art, murals by the multitude. I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have that story tomorrow on GMSA.
Totally sunny around San Antonio, but clouds are increasing from Tropical Storm Nicholas, which is to our east. It's going to stay to our east, bringing in drier air. It's near 80 degrees right now, high temperature close to 90. A bit breezy today, north winds at 10 to 20, gusting at 25, and a look ahead to the rest of the week calls for temperatures in the mid-90s and plenty of sunshine.
And you guys were worried about T-Rexes and Velociraptors. How about a land-roaming whale?
Jeez.
Yes.
No kidding, right?
Egyptian scientists say the fossil of a four-legged prehistoric whale unearthed over a decade ago in the country's western desert is that of a previously unknown species. So the creature, an ancestor of the modern-day whales, believed to have lived 43 million years ago.
Right now it's named Phaeomycetus Anubis after the god of death in ancient Egypt. One of the paleontologists said, "We chose the name because it had a strong and deadly bite. It could kill any creature it crossed paths with." Get this, it was 9 feet long and weighed around 1,300 pounds.
You know what my biggest question is?
What?
What did it sound like?
That's a really good question.
It doesn't talk about that, but that would have been interesting.
Wouldn't Jurassic Park be infinitely more boring, though, if it was a land-roaming whale versus everything else we've seen to this point?
Unless it was extremely deadly.
And apparently it was.
Yeah, I guess so.
It sounds like modern whales are going.
Have a great day, guys.